According to Reuters, recovery teams are continuing with their search for more victims in a flame-ravaged Northern California town, as authorities are seeking clues to the fate of more than 1,000 people who have been reported missing in the deadliest wildfire in state history. Remains of at least 71 people have been recovered so far in and around the Sierra Foothills hamlet of Paradise, which was home to nearly 27,000 residents before the town was consumed by the deadly campfire on the night of November 8th.
First off, I give all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, the water Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, for allowing me to do another video through Spirit, the water Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, for giving us this truth as worms, the honors to our apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and salutation and blessings to the hopeful elect. And this video is going to be based off of something that's been on my mind, because brother's been harping on basically growing in the spirit and growing in the fear of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And the video I wanted to do today through the spirit was basically on the lines of, like, do you fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai? Or do you do this work? Do you do 3 videos just because someone tells you to do it? Or do you do 3 videos because you want to please Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai? The apostles and elders put that command out to do 3 videos because it's of the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And are you doing that just because they said it? Or are you doing that because you want to please Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai? Why are you in this truth? Why the scriptures talk about being persuaded in our own mind? If you don't want to do 3 videos and don't want to do this anymore, don't do it. Don't push out 3 videos. Don't do anything. If you don't want to be in this thing, leave, like the apostles always say. Just leave. Because you're wasting your own time being in this thing. And it's just something been on my mind, just through the spirit. Just do this because you want to please the Lord, man. And not to have this truth as a burden or something that a man put upon you. We're in this truth to please Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. The apostles and elders can't save you. They can give you the advice and what to do to get saved, but they can't save you, man. You have to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. I have to work out my own salvation in fear and trembling. I have to learn and study. This thing is about pleasing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and pleasing the Lord, man. And by pleasing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is doing the work and doing what men have commanded you to do, and not because it's a burden unto you, but because you know it's of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and it's going to lead to your salvation. But this is Galatians. I think it's Galatians 1 and verse 9. As we said before, say I now again, if a man preach any other gospel unto you than that ye have received, let him be accursed. For I do now persuade men or Yahweh, or do not I seek to please men? For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of Yahushua. So if Paul was preaching his word to please men, compromising the doctrine just to please men, or doing things just to please men, he said he wouldn't be a servant of Yahushua. This thing isn't about man pleasing. It's about wanting to please Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, pleasing the Lord, doing the things that He commanded us to do, and actually loving doing them, man, and not thinking of this truth as a hard thing. Like Yahushua said, my burden is easy. Well, I'll just get it real quick. I think I know what it is actually. I think it's Matthew 11. Matthew 11. Might be 11. Yep, Matthew 11 and verse 28. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So that's what the Lord said. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. Now I'm supposed to look at this thing as a chore. Just like, you know, when your parents told you to maybe take out the trash, trash and wash these dishes. No, this is supposed to be something you love to do, a passion. Really having passion for Yahweh Shem Shai, loving his ways, loving what he has established in the order that he has set up upon the earth. I'm gonna get this scripture too, because there was a time in I think Jeremiah where the men of Israel were complaining. They said the burden of the Lord, and the Lord said unto them, what burden? What have I burdened you with? Because like it says in Isaiah, says it's a light thing for you to bring basically the nation of Israel back together. That's a light thing unto Yahweh Shem Shai, preaching his word and doing what you need to do to achieve salvation. But this is Jeremiah 23 and verse 33. And when the people or the prophets or the priests shall ask thee, say, what is the burden of the Lord? Thou shalt then say unto them, what burden? I will even forsake you, saith the Lord. As for the prophet and the priest and the people that say the burden of the Lord, I will even punish the men in his house, because they were looking at this truth as a burden, as something that they can't. It's just too hard. It's too hard to do. We can't do it, because this truth is like it says in Wisdom of Solomon. The yoke that is put upon you, she shall lay upon you as a heavy trial. And then some men cast it off headed be long, because some men look at this truth as something just hard. And really, the truth isn't for everybody. The ways of Yahweh Shem Shai isn't for everyone. That's why we have to count the cost before you just jump into this thing, because this truth is not for everyone on this earth. It is only for a certain group of men that Yahweh Shem Shai has established. This is Sirach 6 and verse 20. She is very unpleasant to the unlearned. He that is without understanding will not remain with her. She will lie upon him as a mighty stone of trial, and he will cast her from him ere it be long. For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. So right there, wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. And some men can't handle the wisdom of Yahweh Shem Shai. That's why people fall out. That's why they cast it. What does it say? Cast it. He will cast her from him ere it be long. So he's going to cast it off of him. He's going to be set free, in other words, because it's truth. You're supposed to be a slave under Yahweh Shem Shai, but people don't want to be slaves under the Lord. So what they do, they cast off the truth, because they weren't taking the time to learn the scriptures, build up their faith, and ultimately they didn't have faith in Yahweh Shem Shai. They didn't believe at the end of the day, and that's what this truth all boils down to. Do you believe? Like Paul said, I believe, therefore have I spoken. That was quoting King David. The men that followed Yahweh and the men that are the prophets of Yahweh Shem Shai believe, man. They're not just in this thing to sit around, eat chicken, and hang out. They look at this truth as something deadly serious, and that it's not a game, and that this is something that we're supposed to do to please Yahweh Shem Shai, and not look at it as a chore or a trial, but to really just want to please the Lord, pleasing the Heavenly Father. Because when we do these videos, this is a sweet incense unto Yahweh Shem Shai. When we pray, is a sweet incense unto Yahweh Shem Shai. When you give alms, when you do the things which are pleasing unto Yahweh Shem Shai, is a sweet incense unto Him. And that's what we have to do. But people don't want to do that. They want to be niggas, hang around, and think that this truth is just something you do on Saturday. No, this is a life thing. We're learning to be Israelites, man. We're learning to come back to how the ways of Yahweh Shem Shai truly are. This isn't a thing of eating chicken and hanging out. And we have fun, joke around, but at the end of the day, this truth is serious. It is nothing to take lightly. This is something deadly serious. And if you don't take it serious, it's not, the things which you hear and learn aren't going to stick with you. It is going to go in one ear and one out one ear, in the one ear and out the other. So we have to take this very serious. Taking the videos we hear very serious. The readings, what we read in the scriptures, studying, taking it very serious, knowing that this truth is life and death. And that this is what pleases Yahweh Shem Shai. But I'm gonna get this. What Paul said. Well, I'm gonna keep going in this Jeremiah actually. This is Jeremiah 23 and verse 5. Thus shall ye say, every one to his neighbor and every one to his brother, what hath the Lord answered? And what has the Lord Yahweh by Shem Shai spoken? And the burden of the Lord shall ye maintain no more. For every man's word shall be his burden. For ye have provoked. That's not. For ye have prevented the words of the living power. And I'm gonna get some of this word real quick. If I have, alright, I don't have the blue letter on here, so I'll just pull it up in a Google definition real quick to see what it means. I'm pretty sure that's to just find out. Slovakia. Pull this up real quick. Perverted. Okay. Perverted. So let me read this again. This is Jeremiah 24 and 36. And the burden of the Lord Yahweh by Shem Shai shall ye mention no more. For every man's words shall be his burden. For ye have perverted the words of the living power, and of the Lord Yahweh by Shem Shai of hosts. Thus saith the Lord. Thus shalt thou say to the prophets, what hath the Lord answered thee, and what has the Lord spoken? But since ye say the burden of the Lord, therefore thus saith the Lord, because ye say this word, the burden of the Lord, I have sent unto you, saying ye shall not say the burden of the Lord. Therefore behold, I, even I, will utterly forget you, and I will forsake you. In the cities I give you and your fathers, and cast you out of my presence. So since Jake wanted to look at the word of Yahweh Shem Shai as a chore or a burden, what did the Lord do? He casted them out. He casted them out. So that's what will happen these days, man. If you look at this truth as a burden or something that's just a load, or this is a definition for burden, a load, especially a heavy one. So a heavy load that you don't want to carry, the Lord's going to cast you out, man. He's going to cast you out of his presence. And he's not going to defend you in the days of great evil. He's not going to protect you because you decided to look at his word as it was a burden, or as it was something that you couldn't handle, so you cast it off. So what's the Lord's going to do the same thing he did back then. He's not going to protect you in the days of evil. He's going to leave you. And we don't want to be left When all hell and perils are before us, we don't want to be left, man. I don't want to be left. A brother of brothers who really care and want to please Yahweh Shem Yahushua don't want to be left out here for the Lord without His presence upon us, without His presence watching over us. This is verse 40. I will bring an everlasting reproach upon you, and a perpetual shame which shall not be forgotten. And that, and the 2/3 and people who fall out, they're going to receive that shame, man, in the kingdom. They're going to receive that shame because they looked at the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua as a burden, so they had it be long. They looked at it as a heavy weight, so they cast it off of. They just got rid of it, and basically they just said forget it. They basically said forget the Lord because it was too hard for them. So what the Lord's going to do? He's going to say forget you. This truth is serious, man. This truth is not. We just don't do this because it's just something to do, man. We don't want to be left by Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We don't want to be without His presence protecting us in the days of great evil. That's why Paul said, woe unto me if I preach not the gospel. Because it's great turmoil and destruction coming upon them that leave this truth or that don't find this truth. It's going to be a hellish time upon those that don't find this truth and that leave this truth, and especially those who left this truth. This is Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon 3. Wisdom of Solomon 3 and verse 19. For horrible is the end of the unrighteous generation. And those people who leave the truth, who don't find the truth or look at this truth as a burden, they're a part of that, and they're gonna have a horrible end, a horrible death. Great death and destruction is coming to this earth. So we're trying to please Yahweh Shem Yahushua while we still can. That's why the scriptures say, "Seek the Lord in the days that are youth, while the evil days draw nigh." Because time is getting short. The days are becoming shorter, man. It's already November. Next week is Thanksgiving. Then after that is Christmas, New Year's. It's already 2019, man. Came by like a flash. Like Yahushua said, I beheld Satan falling as lightning, man. This kingdom is going down quickly. So we have to get right. We have to get our mindsets right, man. Like the brothers in Dallas been pushing, getting your mindsets right and having that kingdom-like mindset. Having kingdom-like thinking and doing this work, believing on Yahweh Shem Yahushua and having faith as the men of the ancient world had, man. Not doubting, but truly believing in the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Not doing this just because somebody tells you to do it, man, but truly believing in the words of the Lord. Do you really believe in this thing, man? Are you persuaded in your own mind? That's the question. Are you persuaded? In the days of great evil and great turmoil, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to test all of us to see if you really believe in me or not. That's how the Lord's going to do it, man. If you truly believe in Yahweh Shem Yahushua, you will be in this work, man, because you know what's about to happen. This is Sirach 2 and verse 12. Woe be to the fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goes two ways. And that's another thing the brothers in Dallas been bringing out, being fearful, man. Just being down, always thinking about the things. Oh, Esau gonna come for us, man. He gonna kill us. No, that's being of a fearful heart, man. That's having faith hands. The Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua said He will protect us in those days. He said He'll be with us. So have that faith that the Lord's gonna protect us and believe us. If you read the scriptures, look at them men of old. When they were about to be delivered up to death, what happened? Some men were delivered. Like even with Stephen, he actually died. But what happened? The Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushua received His spirit. That at that moment, the Lord was with them the whole time. The three holy children, the Lord was with them. Don't always think about the negative, man. Think about the positive, that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is going to protect us, that He will deliver us. We just have to have that faith. Verse 12, woe be to the fearful hearts and faint hands in the sinner that goes two ways, man. I'm not just saying this for brothers out there. I'm saying this for myself also, man. To really be persuaded in my own mind. Really believe in this thing, man. To really have faith in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. And not just say it, but really know it and believe it. Because that's what it's about, man. It's not just about saying it, man. You're in the day-to-day walk, when the cameras aren't rolling, are you really walking after the ways of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai? And if you are, that shows that you believe, man. And that shows that you have fear for the Lord. This thing isn't just you hop on video, you say a few words, and then all the words you say, you don't even do. You don't do none of the things that you done said. That's in Romans, man. That's in Romans, where it talks about a man who says to do something and he does contrary to what he said to do. Like someone who says don't smoke weed and then go smokes weed. I'm saying all this for myself also, man. Lord will, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai had me of an upright mindset unto the end. And to really believe, man. To believe and not be no fearful hearted nor faint hands, but to endure all the way to the end with all the brothers. Because that's what it's about, enduring all the way to the end. And we're getting very close to the finish line. You just have to see it. And the sinner that goes two ways. Being doubting. Being very doubt-hearted. Being tossed like a wave. Going two ways. Like with Saul. For example, the Lord told him to kill the Edomites and he didn't. That's going two ways. You had a direct command and you didn't do it. You're going a different way. Verse 13, woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not. Therefore shall he not be defended. So right there, man. Being faint-hearted. Oh, Esau's gonna come for us, man. He gonna just kill us. He gonna lock us up. He gonna torture us. Don't think about that, man. Think about how the Lord said He's gonna deliver you. Think about the men in the ancient world who got locked up and the angel broke them out of prison. Look at the end of our Lord Yahushai, how He was exalted after He died. Don't be a Debbie Downer, man. Yeah, all hell is gonna break loose, and we're gonna suffer persecution, but we're gonna receive the victory. We're gonna receive the victory in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai if we endure. Don't be faint-hearted nor doubting, but believe that the Lord is gonna do those things, even if you do that. Still know that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai has prophesied that to happen. So that's even more faith. That's even more belief. Because the Lord said it was going to happen. Either way, these things are going to happen, man. Esau is going to come for us. This devil is going to kill some of us. These things are meant to happen. They're written in the scriptures, so they're going to happen. But it's not for us to be fearful-hearted and to be afraid of them. It's supposed to be for us to rejoice because the prophecies of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai are happening. The Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai has made good His word, and that means the kingdom's right there. The Lord Yahushai is right there. No more death, no more sorrows. It's right at hand. We just have to endure. Verse 14, woe unto you that has lost patience, and what will ye do when the Lord shall visit you? And that's a scary thing, man. What you gonna say? What you gonna say to the Lord, man? Why aren't you doing the work? Why aren't you prophesying? I put it in you. Where'd it go? I gave you the talent. Why'd you hide it under a napkin? Yahushua isn't going to be joking or playing with nobody who's not serious about this work. Yahushua is coming to judge, man. He's coming to judge, man. He's coming to execute judgment upon this earth, and He's not going to be playing any games. And we have to know that when the Lord is returning, man, He's not going to be fucking joking around. He's going to be serious. So we have to be serious. We have to be serious, and we have to rejoice at his returning, knowing that we are doing what's right, man. Like Paul said, I fought the good fight. When at the end of the day, in your mind, when you may be sitting in the guillotine, you may just be walking around martial law, be like, I fought the good fight. I've done everything the Lord has told me to do. That's gonna be a great blessing to say in your mind, man. That's gonna exhort you in the spirit. Like I did what the Lord told me to do. I believed in him, did videos brotherly. I'm still trusting him even all hell is before me. I'm in a guillotine right now, but I'm still calling upon his name. I've done everything I could do. If Yahweh Shemi Shai has me die, he's gonna receive my spirit. That's the faith we have to have, man. I've done everything I could do to please the Lord in his life. So whatever happens, Yahweh Shemi Shai is still going to be with me. He's going to receive my spirit either way, because I did the things which are told of me, which were written in the scriptures. But that was just something that was on my mind. Lord willing, is edifying unto you. Brothers, don't be ashamed of this truth. Don't look at this truth as something, as a burden. This is a great blessing we have received, man. And not everybody has received it, like it says in Sirach 6 and verse 22 again. For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. So that's a great blessing, man. We have received a great blessing from Yahweh Shemi Shai. Don't look at it as it's something as a heavy weight, man. This is a truly great blessing that we have received, and we don't deserve it. But with that, I want to give all praises unto Yahweh by Shemi Shai, by Shem Rakak Wadash, the Wadi Yahweh Shemi Shai for giving us his truth as worms. Double honors to our apostles and elders at Great Millstone, and salutation and blessings to the hopeful elect. Shalom.
All right, hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're watching AMTV, Alternative Media Television. We got our camera a little crooked there. Let me see if I can fix it. So today I've got a very, very important story. Here's what's unbelievable about it. No one in the world is talking about this. You literally can't get this information anywhere else. You see, the entire internet has been completely and utterly scrubbed. It has been destroyed as a result of the conspiracy theories we've been talking about for years that have now become full frontal reality in front of all of our faces, hard-hitting and in your face. It's our slogan here at AMTV, Alternative Media Television. It has now just become reality, and it's amazing people just aren't even talking about the fact that all of this alleged conspiracy is now fact. It has become literal fact. Let me give you an example of this. French President Emmanuel Macron, the Mark, is calling for a European army so that it can defend itself not just from the rest of the world, Middle Eastern countries from attack, Russia, China, now the largest empire in the world. It's risen again, arguably more powerful than the United States, but also to protect itself from a nationalist USA. And Donald Trump, in fact, he spoke and he said this. He said, patriotism is the exact opposite of nationalism. Patriotism is the exact opposite of nationalism. And so this very suave, debonair, good-looking, arguably, figure is calling for a unified European Union and a one-world army in the EU. Let that sink in for a minute. Is this not the New World Order government we have been warning about for generations? Is this not biblical? The Macron, Emmanuel, with God. Interesting, isn't it? Or is it all just a giant deception? There are so many stories in the news right now that I find unbelievable that no one is talking about. Let me give you another example of this. I think I've got this on lock. There we go. There, it's working. In and out. Make sure you follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. These stories are absolutely unbelievable, and nobody's talking about them. It is absolutely ridiculous. So let me give you an example of this at AMTV Media. Make sure you follow me. I reported this over the weekend. This is an article by CNBC. Why a new discovery in outer space means humans should keep an open mind about aliens. extraterrestrial life. This is from CNBC. There is an object that has been detected on the mountaintop of Hawaii. You know, they've got a big telescope looking out into outer space. This object, foreign object, spinning, called a muamua, I think is what you call it, at this hyper speed, not exerting any of the typical signs or characteristics emitting gases like a typical comet or asteroid. And NASA is telling the American public should not rule out that it potentially could be extraterrestrial aircraft, and we could be being made contact with a new life form that we've never come across before. It's actually kind of funny because the object, again, I'm not making any of this stuff up. I'm going to put it in the description below. Just goes to show you how scrubbed the internet is. I mean, the mainstream media is talking about this, and I can't even find this in a conspiracy forum. It's literally this cigar-shaped object, which is super long and looks like a penis. It's really kind of funny. It's almost like Austin Powers, you know, or Spaceballs or something. But this is real. Allegedly, it's spinning through our solar system. We've never seen anything like it ever in world history, and it could be an alien spaceship, hold aliens and or extraterrestrial life. Now, of course, this would play into the other conspiracy theory that there will be a disclosure soon of which the power elites will basically pull the wool over the eyes of the American and global public, and there could be a reason for it. So I tweeted, elites could be preparing for disclosure soon. World's billionaires know something you don't. Why else would they be spending so much time and money with space exploration? SpaceX, Richard Branson, his space company, Jeff Bezos, his space company. This is also how they would lightly leak to the media in preliminary stages. Get you used to the idea, right? You just start hearing these stories on CNBC, CNN lightly, right? They just keep plugging it and plugging it. This is psychological warfare. All of a sudden, wham! Aliens everywhere! And there's abductions everywhere, globally. Yeah, you think that might sound a little crazy, but it's actually the truth. It's what they would do through the media and that type of propaganda. In addition to that, I also tweeted, this was over the weekend, CNBC is fear-mongering that power outages and bank runs may be on the cusp here in the United States and globally, coming to all of our local banks very, very soon. They give their reasons for this and also warn of a 9/11 type cyber attack that could shut the banks, cause bank runs, absolutely destroy the dollar, and, of course, bring down the grid. If that happens, of course, let's say we were all without electricity for more than a couple of weeks, not only would there be extreme chaos, and if they couldn't turn it back on, experts surmise that about 90+% of the human population would end up deceased. We could have a third, let's say, I mean, this relates to biblical prophecy, which would equate to about 2+ billion people that would no longer exist on this planet that holds a little above, 7 billion today. So a third of the global population could be eradicated or more, according to biblical texts. And then the experts are saying it could be 90% plus. In addition to that, I also tweeted, this is also from the mainstream media, it's unbelievable. The army in the United Kingdom is planning for martial law in the streets of the UK and other parts of the Eurozone as a result of the failed Brexit, right? The people got together, as a democracy should, even though we're not a democracy here in the United States, by the way. We are a constitutional republic. There's a big difference. A nation founded under God. But in the UK, as their, democracy is supposed to work, I guess, or however however that is formed over there, they are warning of martial law in the streets, and they have prepared an army of 1,000 troops, up to 10,000 plus troops, if needed, if things sour in regards to the Brexit. All these votes, and then the people vote to leave, and then the revotes, and the revotes, and then the revotes, and then they're just better off just staying in the Eurozone versus leaving, because, of course, that was the intention all along. And, of course, the power brokers that control this new world globalist agenda, they're not going to let the people do what they actually voted for or what they actually intend for. So we literally have, let me sum this up, aliens, this is the mainstream media, we have a September 11th, 9/11 type attack, God forbid, in the United States and worldwide that could result in global power outages, according to CNBC. And also, the army in the United Kingdom is preparing for martial law and civil unrest. While at the same time, the Mark Macron, orates to his elites, orates to the world that they are planning for a world army, an EU army by 2025, as they point a finger at Trump and call him a racist because he loves this country. They call him a racist because he loves America. And he's anti-globalism. Isn't that interesting? So we are leading up to the mother of all events, a nuclear bomb type event, God forbid, in the United States and worldwide, as we sit on the precipice of disaster. Not just World War III, another article I read over the weekend from CNBC saying, how we could prepare and potentially avoid it. You see, all of these economic shenanigans, the trade war against China, the propaganda war against Russia, all of this that we're seeing in the mainstream media, the general population is underestimating. They think, for example, that world superpowers will never go to war. They'll never drop a nuke because of mutually assured destruction. No, that's not true. That's not true at all. It takes one press of the button, one mistake, one false piece of information to leak out into the news, and boom. It's all over with, folks. And again, whether or not you listen to the experts who are also telling you this is coming, how many people died in World War II? 50 plus million. How many people died in World War I? A lot. I think it was I'm kind of going off the top of my head, 8 million, a million to 8 million, I don't know, something like that. I know 50 million lives were lost in World War II. The question you need to ask is how many lives will be lost in this third world war? Which is not an if, and not a question of if, but when. It is coming. A third of the population could be wiped out by these psychopaths attempting to integrate and unify a Europe. Think about how crazy and nuts and despicable this all is. You're taking nations and their sovereignty, people that have their culture that they love, their differing opinions, views, languages, and you're trying to make that into one entity? I mean, that's never going to work. That's a horrible idea. I mean, even God himself separated the peoples of this planet into different languages so they couldn't communicate. It was a part of the punishment of the naivete of building a Tower of Babel up to and worshiping a false god. Yet these people, with their fancy suits, their suave, debonair appeal, people like Macron and others tell us right to our face the same conspiracy theories we allegedly warned about, but pushing it into reality, into the real world, as they usher in a global government and a world order. This is where it's going. This is what it is leading to. And it's unbelievable. More people aren't awake to the truth. We need to understand that we are engaged in a spiritual battle, a spiritual war. Now is the time to get right with God. Now is the time to prepare you and your family for what and from what is ahead. All else I can say in today's broadcast is God be with you. And please, for the love of God, prepare yourself. Share this video with your friends and family and get the truth out to as many people as possible. I'm Christopher Green. You're watching AMTV. Click the links below to prepare, to support us, and to share the good word. God bless.
All right. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rcha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is For the Vintage Shall Fail. This is based off of a scripture in the book of Isaiah, the 32nd chapter. And going to go to that and read that and give some insight to that, which that's dealing with women, but also, just using it in general for work purposes. When I got up this morning, I was watching this one video on YouTube, how they're saying that China is going to be taking over pretty much the economy of the world. And they're saying that the 21st century belongs to them because the 20th century belonged to America. In the 19th century, or however they put it, belonged to someone else. So the 21st century belongs to the so-called Chinese or the Moabites. Well, the so-called Chinese, the Moabites, they are financially up there and moving, in that superior position. But what these people don't account for is that the Most High is going to send his son Yahweh Shai back to the planet to pretty much to because the scriptures say he's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So the Most High is going to send Yahweh Shai back on the planet to take the power structure of this world and these nations down. And they don't account for that, because Esau and the other nations, they're not spiritual. They may have certain spiritualities about them which stem off of worldly wisdom, and other things of that nature. But as far as when it comes down to spirituality, dealing with the Most High and Yahweh Shai, they don't have that, because the scriptures say that the Lord Yahweh Shai told the disciples not to worry about what they're going to eat or what they're going to put on for clothing, because the Heavenly Father knows that we have need of all these things. It says, but the nations, they worry about those things. That's why when the other nations come to America, right, they come here to make money. They don't come here to get closer to their God, because really their gods are nothing but idols. They come here to make money, and that's the only reason why they're coming here, and a lot of them over the years have given up their ways and their customs and their philosophies and beliefs to latch on to the American beliefs, because they figure that that's going to get them closer to making more money so that they can be sustained, because these nations don't have faith as the nation of Israel has faith. Israel is the most fucked up nation out there by far, bar none. That is true. But that's because we as a people are under curses, and them curses are going to be lifted up once Yahweh Shai comes back and sets us up back into power. And the nations will respect and reverence and bow down to us once the kingdom is established, because right now they ain't bound to anything but their gods or their money. All right. So what I want to do is, let me see if I can find this one precept real quick. Gonna read this real quick, and then just jump into the lesson. All right, let me just switch over here. And shalom to the Akim out there on the comment boards. And if there's any Akwath watching and listening, shalom to you all also. This is Luke 17 and 26. It says, and as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. So when Yahweh Shai is about to make his return, it's going to be just like in the days of Noah. And this is why you have China, which is emerging as a superpower and is emerging as a superpower financially, militarily, and all of these other things that they're involved in. So yeah, you're going to have that, but overall, China is not going to be the next America or the next ruling empire, because America, which is Babylon the Great, is the final kingdom to be ruling, and the final people to rule this planet before Yahweh Shai comes back is the nation of Edom, the Edomites, the so-called white people. This is why when you read the book of Isaiah 63, it speaks about when Yahweh Shai returns, which he's not coming back as a man. It said, who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments? Because this is the day of vengeance that he's been waiting for, and to take down the power structure of Esau on these nations, and so to speak, put those crowns upon his head, Not that there's going to be actual crowns, but the victory over these nations is going to be given to him, to Yahushai, as the one that destroyed this. But in the meantime, things are happening like it were during the time of Noah. Noah was prophesying, and what were the people doing? It said they did eat. People not eating in America and around the world. They drank. Are not people eating and drinking? You know, whether they're drinking grape juice or whether they're drinking water or whether they're drinking wine or beer or strong drink, whatever, right? That's what they were doing during the time of Noah. They married wives. Ain't they marrying wives today? And today they're so bold as men marrying men and women marrying women. So they were given in marriage, which they're doing today, until the day that Noah entered into the ark and the flood came and destroyed them all. So it's going to be the same analysis that's going to happen on the same events that are going to be taking place, but just in a different time period as it was during the time of Noah, because they have the prophets out there prophesying and telling them that their kingdom is falling apart, you know? And this financial thing, financial woes are one of the main reasons why empires fall, you know, outside the should I say, second to the prophecies of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, because the prophecies of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai come first. But these financial woes is what causes the destruction, devastation, and the fall of an empire. Okay, so that money that China's getting and this superpower status and super economical status that they're getting is not going to save them from being brought down to becoming tributary, because the last rulers on the planet Earth before the return of our Messiah, Yahushai Hamashiach, is Esau, the Edomites, the so-called white man. And they are in rulership, and they have been in rulership for a short period of time, according to the scriptures, going back to the Renaissance period until this point now. It says, likewise, also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. See, so there's a lot of buying and selling going on today. But the consensus is that these nations are losing money when they get involved with the world reserve currency of the day, which is the American dollar. So the American dollar going down the drain, you know, and them nations pushing away from it is causing America to fall even harder and fall even faster. You know, because I believe the last time I heard a financial expert speak about the American dollar, I believe they said it was worth like 2 cents, you know, which pretty much is, it's worthless, period. You know, matter of fact, brothers put a couple of comments, read a couple of these precepts. GMS Winnipeg Prophet, Psalms 2 and 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Right, because they're raging and saying that they're going to be the next rulers. But it's a vain thing that they're imagining, because they're not counting for Yahushua coming back. And all of the signs are in the scriptures. You know, all of these signs that are coming to pass are in the scriptures, but they still don't give heed to it. Why? Because they're not spiritual. It says, the kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, and it's going to say, you know, let us cut him off, you know. And that's what they're thinking, that they're going to be able to continue ruling with, you know, like it says in our Psalms. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick and then jump back to that. Psalms 49 and 11 says, their inward thought is, this is in their mind, that their houses shall continue forever. See, and their dwelling places to all generations, because that's the pride of Esau. They call their lands after their own name. So they really believe that they're going to continue ruling. Although the economic system of America is in super serious crisis. Pretty much the economy of America is in a hospice, you know, so you could better understand. It's just a matter of time, you know, days. It could be days, it could be weeks, it could be months before the total collapse of this dollar finally, you know, when that proverbial straw that broke the camel's back hits, and that says it's going to fold like a deck of cards or like a house of cards. All right. So the brother GMS Vegas sit down, 2nd Ezra 16:21. Behold, victual shall be so cheap, so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Yeah, like that's why you can go to Burger King now and get 10 of those Burger King nuggets for $1. And we finding out, Elder Pastor was telling us yesterday that they have nanotechnology in a lot of those different um, products or nuggets, you know, in I believe he said McDonald's, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have it there. And that's not real meat. There's no way you're going to be able to survive with a thriving business selling 10 nuggets for $1. Okay, that's all bullshit. They're selling you nothing but chemicals, and people are actually eating that shit. All right, so it says they think themselves to be in good case, and that's what they're thinking. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And this is what we're about to enter into. And yesterday at the main camp, we were speaking on certain things, and the Spirit was guiding it like it always does, and it was guiding things into these women being brought down from their exalted position that they've been set up into by Esau. You know, these women, that pride that they have in their eyes, that Edomite pride, it's going to be brought down once these things start happening. You know, as the brother put in the precept in 2nd Ezra 16, they're thinking themselves to be in a good case, and all of a sudden, bam, the reality is going to chin check them. All right. So going back to Luke 17:28, likewise also as in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they built it. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed, and he's coming back soon. So the name of this lesson is The Vintage Shall Fail. Now I'm going to read this precept here. I'm going to jump around. Keep in mind, as I said before, this particular scripture in Isaiah 32 is dealing with these Israelite women that are going to be brought down. But America is also considered a woman. She's considered that harlot that rides upon the scarlet colored beast. So you could apply this to them, you know, and everything that happens to Israel, according to Deuteronomy 30:7, is going to happen to Esau. All right, these curses are going to be brought upon them. So the same thing that we've gone through and that we've been going through, they're going to go through, but double. All right, Isaiah 32:9, rise up, ye women that are at ease, because the so-called black women and the women of the other tribes, they are at ease. You know, this is why they can be they have the freedom to do whatever they want. But also America, which is considered to be that harlot, that woman, they're also at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. So this is the Lord speaking to the nation of Israel, or really the women of the nation of Israel. Give ear unto my speech, you know, so listen up. It says, many days and years shall you be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Because if you have a vintage is, you know, where you're able to make wine, the grape gathering, and every year you have your crops and your ingatherings. And in the ingathering, that helps tie you over to the next year, so on and so forth, as every year goes by. But we're at the point now where things are starting to fail. And this, in turn, would be applied to, you know, your businesses, your bank accounts, you know, and things of that nature that are going, you know, that are pretty much being brought low, because the Lord said that you shall bring in a bag of money and he shall blow upon it. There shall be a hole in it. And when you go to the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, and I'm just going to go straight to the point, the 16th verse, it says, curse shall thou be in the city, and curse shall thou be in the field. Curse shall be thy basket and thy store. So this applies to the nation of Israel. But as it states in Deuteronomy 30:7, that these curses are going to be brought and put upon Esau. So now they're suffering the effect of their baskets and their stores being cursed, because we're coming down to the end, and because of the way that they got this this money and this wealth and these resources in the land was corrupt. So the Lord is bringing them down because of that, and if the Lord permits, we'll go, which, we've broken the scripture down many times. James, the 5th chapter, the Lord permits, we'll go to it. But the point is, the basket in the store is cursed. Let's go to the word basket. Tana'ah, H2935, basket, to weave a basket of interlace. It doesn't really say too much, but your basket represents what? You put fruit into a basket. So when you go out and you're gleaning grapes, or you're picking grapes, or you're picking crops, and you're doing different things of that nature, you have to have a basket to put it into, and that represents like your storehouse, or your business. All right. Because if you go out there and you just grab, you're only going to be able to grab so much in your arm. So you grab a basket and you put, the fruits in it. Right. And then you can carry it to what? To your barn, which is your storehouse. Did not Joseph in Egypt gather for 7 years? And what did he do? He stored it in barns, or whatever they had in Egypt, where they were able to store this food, So that represents the money that's coming in and your bank accounts, your savings. All right. So now store, H4863, Masha Arath, kneading, trowel, or bowl. Doesn't say too much there. Be interchanged. Oh, well, that's something different. Original sense of swelling. See, because what, don't Jake have that saying? My pockets are fat. Back in the days. What did that mean? That means you kept getting so much money that it barely fit in your pocket. So this represents your store, a kneading trowel in which dough rises. Right, because if your dough rises, they call money dough, and if it rises, then you're straight. You're supposed to be straight. And this is why the scriptures speak about rich men not leaning upon their riches, because these riches are uncertain, and they can be transferred from one hand to another, overnight. All right. So let's see if we can, what's the word I was looking at? You know what? Let's just go to store. Let's go online and see what it says. Store. Let's go to definition. Store, a retail establishment selling items to the public. A quantity or supply of something kept for use as needed. See, and this is what it is: reserve, stockpile, supply, stock. So what would that be considered? Your assets, monetarily, what you have. All right. See, keep or accumulate something for the future, for future use. So you're gonna your basket and your store is gonna be cursed, and that's what's happening here in America. Their basket is being cursed, and their store is being cursed. And this is why the American dollar bill, which is a world reserve currency, is going the way that it's going. So going back to here, many days and years shall you be troubled, you careless women, for the vintage shall fail. So now let's go to the word vintage. The word vintage doesn't say too much here. H1210, batazayar, which is vintage. But then when you go to the root word of H1219, batazar, it says to gather, restrain, fence, fortify, make inaccessible, enclose. Why? Why is it saying that? Well, let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes. I believe it's the 10th chapter. There's two of them, so just bear with me while I find the other one. You know what? I'll just get this one. You know what? No, let me see. I believe it might be in Ecclesiastes 7. If I can't find it that way, right, Ecclesiastes 7:12. For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. See, a defense against what? It's a hedge, against financial woes. All right. So money is a defense. It helps. And let's go back to Ecclesiastes 10 and 19. A feast is made for laughter, and wine maketh merry, but money answereth all things. And in this society, we are subject to payments. So if we are subject to payments in a feudal society, which the word feud goes back to fee, you know, which is to pay. And the scripture say we are subject to payments. So if you're in a society like that, you have to have money to be able to pay your bills, to be able to eat, and all of that. All right. So that's what finances are supposed to do. They're supposed to protect you against future things. This is why these devils are always trying to store up and hoard up wealth. All right. So now let's go back here to cut off, fortify. So we pretty much got the gist of it on the word vintage, right? Now let's go from there to the actual vintage definition. It says the year or place in which wine, especially wine of high quality, was produced, relating to or denoting wine of high quality, which is your ingathering. Because why do people work? Do people work just because, you know, I have nothing else to do? I'm bored today, so I'm just gonna work. No, people work to receive wages, to receive money. And that money is received for what? So you could pay your bills, so you could get certain things that you need, so you could fix your car, you could get tires for your car, you know, or you can get a tune-up, you know, or you can get, you know, you might need a TV, a smartphone, you know, you might need food at the house. So people work to receive wages so that they can go out there and buy their necessities. See? And that is your storage. Because back in the days, if people didn't have gold, you know, what did you had? You had cattle, you had land, you had crops, you know, that you were able to trade as money to get other things that you don't have that you need. So money answereth all things. So this vintage is going to fail. It's going to fail among you Israelite women, but it's also going to fail here in America, which America is compared to that harlot that rideth upon that scarlet colored beast. Okay. It says, so your vintage is going to fail. The gathering shall not come, because that's what you're working for. You're working to gather in things, goods into your basket. But the Lord said that he's going to blow upon that. When you gather it, he's going to blow upon it. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that real quick. I know that's in Haggai. I'm not sure if it's the first or the second chapter, but just bear with me. Let me see. Right here. Haggai 1, and I started 4. Is it time for you to, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses? Yeah. Like you know, you have certain members of that are Hebrew Israelites of different groups that have homes, you know, and they had their congregation buy them a home, right? Elder Apostle Tar was telling us that this guy Lorna Doonhead, you know, Asaph, Deacon Asaph, you know, he was telling the congregation that they got to buy him a house. You know, it doesn't have to be a big house, but I need a house. You know, but is it time for you to dwell in your sealed houses? What's wrong with just having an apartment? You know, that just shows you, man, where these guys' minds are at. And, you know, because they really here for the long haul. But that's another story. And this house lie waste. So the house of Israel is lying waste. You know, you still have Jakes out there that are in the gutter, man, that are on drugs, that are, you know, and all of that. And here it is, you want to live lavishly. The time to live lavishly is the kingdom of heaven, you know, and this is why the Lord showed, I believe this is why the Lord showed the brother Shathia from Chicago that vision of the kingdom of heaven, because that's when we're going to be able to relax and chill and have that stressless look on our face, you know, have that calm, serene spirit, because that is the time of rest. It says in Psalms, the 149th chapter, let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them yell it out or scream out loud on their beds, something along those lines. You know, that's the time to be able to relax and chill and enjoy the fruits of the kingdom. But while we're here, we're still, you know, in hell. It says, now therefore, thus saith the Lord, power of hosts, consider your ways. You have sown much and bring in little. Now, this is dealing with Israel, but you can apply that to today. Has not this devil sown much? And they've sown much, and they brought in much, but now that much is starting to dwindle. You eat, but you have not enough. You drink, but you are not filled with drink. You clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put into a bag with holes. Why? Because it's going to constantly be falling out. And the way that the economy is, and the way that this reserved out the FRN, Salakia, the Federal Reserve note is today, is worthless. So it takes a whole lot more to pay for something that it would have took you maybe $1 to buy, years ago, maybe 5, 10 years ago, or 15 years ago. So this economy is collapsing, and these Israelites that are doing good, they're gonna start doing bad, because remember, they're phasing out the middle class. They just want the super rich and the super poor. That's all they want. They don't want anything in between that, because anything in between that is a threat to, their establishment, because they want people to be totally dependent on the government for anything. And that's the way they want it. And this is why ultimately they want to bring in the microchip, which is the mark of the beast, so that they can fully control everybody and make perpetual slaves. All right. So going back to the word vintage, relating or denoting wine of high quality. All right. So now, through the spirit, we went through that, because I was looking through some articles, and a whole bunch of articles popped up on suicide rates among U.S. workers increased 34%. Why? Because, and this is dated November 16, 2018, which was 2 days ago. And the consensus is that people can't find work, so they can't sustain their way of living. And some people are used to living a certain lifestyle and they can't live it. So what do? They commit suicide, so they don't have to deal with it anymore. Now, I'm not going to read any of this article, because this next article is going to go back to the same article. It says middle class destruction, suicide rates soar among American workers. And this is dated today, November 18, 2018. And this is from Zero Hedge. During 2000 through 2016, suicide rates among American workers aged 16 through 64 years jumped 34%, from a 12.9%, 100,000 population, to 17.3. According to a newly published report by the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, increasing suicide rates in the U.S. are a concerning trend that represents a tragedy for families and communities and impact the American workforce, said Dr. Deborah Howery, director of the CDC National Center for Injury Prevention and Control. Knowing who is at greater risk for suicide can help save lives through focused prevention efforts, Howery said. With the American workforce declining for decades, only now the workforce is declining for decades. But then when you watch the so-called president, vice presidents, senators, mayors, these different so-called political leaders, they're telling the people that the economy is coming back, it's jumping back. You got this amount of jobs, you got that amount of jobs, you got this, you got that. It says, but with the American workforce, and these are statistics that they're taking, people that are committing suicide, people that don't have jobs, that can't get jobs, that had to go from a high paying job like some CEO or something like that, to going and working in McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's or whatever the case is. All right. It says, with the American workforce declining for decades, only now this disturbing evidence, this is a typo, of the catastrophic damage that has already been done being released. Suicide rates are rapidly expanding in almost every state, as it now becomes the 10th leading cause of death in the U.S. and is one of the three leading reasons that are on the rise. All right. I'm gonna read a couple of these precepts, and then I got a precept I want to go to also. Great millstone, daily bread, Ezekiel 7:12. The time is come, the day draweth near. Let not the buyer rejoice, nor the seller mourn. Beautiful. For wrath is upon all the multitude thereof. Right. So this is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in his eyes. So he's the one that's causing the collapse of this economy, and the collapse of this American empire, and the collapse of Esau's rulership. GMS North Carolina, Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And that's why. Why are the people in mourning when the wicked beareth rule? Because they are the wicked, and they don't deal straight. They don't deal as they should. The brother GMS Winnipeg, profits yield, noun, Old English, yield, payment, sum of money, service, offering, worship. So pretty much, you know, that's the yield is what you get from the work that you put in, right? Let's see, Proverbs 22:7, great meals on daily bread. To the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. All right, so now let's go to this next precept that I have here, and I'm gonna go back, Lord's will, to this article and see if we could read a little more, see what else we could find. It's kind of a short read. Ecclesiastes 12:1. Remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not. Why? Because the evil days represent what? Evil is EV is age, and ill is what? Bad. You know, so this bad time or this bad age that's coming, we are to seek to the Most High while he may be found. Because once the evil days come and you have not prepared yourself to get in the good graces of your power, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, guess what? You're not going to be taken care of. This is why you have those doomsday preppers, these Edomites, that are prepping because they don't believe in the Most High. They don't have hope that the Heavenly Father, once things break out, that he can actually come and give us something when we have nothing, like he did during the days of Elijah. You know, when Elijah fled from the face of Jezebel, and he told him that there was going to be a drought for 3.5 years or something along those lines, and he went out there in the wilderness somewhere by this body of water, and he drank that body of water, and the birds would bring him his food every day. You know, so he was taking care of that whole time of that drought and famine. So they don't have that hope that a divine intervention can come and deliver them from a situation like that. And this is why they preparing what they're storing food and weapons and everything as a hedge against that day. The same thing with us. We're preparing ourselves, and we're doomsday preppers also. But the doomsday preppers that we are spiritual doomsday preppers, into where we're putting money into our spiritual bank account by doing these lessons, so that when the time comes, the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai can protect us. You see? So this is why they're prepping like that, them doomsday preppers, because they don't have any other hope. It says, "No, the years draw nigh when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble." Now, who are the keepers of the house? The keepers of the house are these economists that are supposed to watch over the economy of America and of the world, you know, and that represents those stockbrokers, you know, that represents those financial experts that still believe wholeheartedly in Esau, because the other financial experts, the ones that you rarely see in the media, they're speaking against this place. You know, they're speaking against America. They're saying that this American dollar is finished. But you still have those so-called financial experts that are telling the people, no, it's not going to happen. The economy is going to bounce back, because they're lying. But really deep down inside, they're nervous, because even their future seems grim. It says, "And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few." Now let's look up this word grinders. Word grinding means to work, right? Now, in the New Testament, it says 2 women shall be grinding, the one shall be taken, the other one shall be left. That doesn't mean they're going to be in the bed humping on each other, you know, trying to get each other off, you know, and then one of them is going to be taken and the other one left. No, it's talking about women are going to be at a particular place working, and one of them will be taken and the other one will be left. It has nothing to do with no fucking lesbian bullshit. It's fucking devils, boy. They like to corrupt everything, or try to corrupt everything. So the Hebrew word H2912, tachan, to grind, crush, to grind meal, which represents what? Working. That to be a concubine, that being their employment. So it's really employment. All right. So this particular grinding is employment. So what's going to happen? There's going to come a point where stores are going to be closing, which the Elder Malcolm and other brothers bring this out a lot. There's going to be stores that are going to be closing, going into bankruptcy, that are laying off all different types of employees, and just to cut money on the workforce, they're bringing in automated robots and things of that nature to be able to save money in the long run and cut their losses, so to speak. So here we have bankrupt Sears wants to give executives $19 million in bonuses. This is dated November 16, 2018. Source is CNN. Says Sears is seeking court approval to pay executives as much as $19 million in quarterly bonuses while the company struggles to restructure in bankruptcy. And the reason why they're doing this is because they're trying to give each other a certain amount of bonus to try to build up that hedge for what's coming. But it's too late, because all that they're doing is there's a computer what's the word I'm looking for, computer strokes, or record keeping, in other words, everything is on a computer. All right, it's not actual money, because if it was actual money, they would have silver, gold, things that appreciate life. All right, they would have the guns. All right, stocks and bonds, shit that appreciates with time. Inside joke. So it says in quarterly bonuses while the company struggles to restructure in bankruptcy. And that's why a lot of these big retail stores are closing down. Why? Because it's for first and foremost prophecy that the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai is doing. And the prophecy is taking place through people shopping online and no longer going really to the malls or to these different stores to buy their goods. And this is why, like, if you go to a place like the vitamin shop, you can go in there, right? And then what they try to do is they say, well, we'll offer you 10% off if you buy it now, and then we can ship it to you. Why the fuck do I want you to ship something to me while I'm in the store? I'm buying it. I need it right now, but I'm gonna pay what I gotta pay so I can get it 10% off, and now I gotta wait for you guys to mail it to me or to deliver it to me. Kind of bullshit is that? Because they're trying to do everything on the internet. They're trying to stop the interaction of people actually going to these different stores, which them dumbass people don't realize that. Look, this is threatening your job. But hey, the vintage shall fail. 3 top executives could get nearly $1 million. So you get the point. Sears is in bankruptcy. They're trying to give their certain executives, not their employees, not the hardworking employees that's keeping everything going, but the executives, up to $19 million in bonuses. So that's just showing you that's just one example of many big retail stores that have been around for years that are in bankruptcy or that are going out of business. All right. That's why we read here, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble and the strong men shall bow themselves and the grinders cease because they are few. So let's look at the word few. And then what's happening is they're taking ma'at, which means small, H4591, ma'at, and they're taking the jobs of the poor, so to speak, and people that were middle class are taking those jobs now. You see? And although it's a drop here, they're dropping in big time, but then you have those that are poor that depended on those jobs, and now they're all fucked up. Now they got to go and get extra welfare and extra food stamps and all of that. So this whole society is just collapsing within itself. So it says to be or become small, be few, be diminished. So the vintage shall fail, and the grinding shall cease because they are few. To be too small, to diminish, to become few, so to give less. So this thriving economy and this booming economy of America that once was a thriving a nation that exported many goods, that became rich through her delicacies and all her stuff that she was selling, is now bankrupt. Okay, they're bankrupt. All right, now let's see what else we have here. No, let's go back to Ecclesiastes 12, and I read that again. The day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves to grind the cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. You know, so these economists are not going to be able to see any good for the American future. You know, that's why even back in the before the Great Depression, Joe Kennedy told all of his friends that had money in the stock market to trade it in for gold. I'm not sure if he said gold and silver, or just gold, or gold and silver. I'm not sure which one, because he knew he had the inside scoop that the stock market was going to crash. And those that listened to him, they were straight, because they were able to withstand that great collapse. All right. It says, and the door shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. And this is why you have big corporations as Sears, as Toys R Us, and others like of that ilk that are closing down stores, and people are losing jobs. So what do you think those people are doing that don't have the jobs? They're on unemployment, you know, they're on welfare, they're on food stamps, which keeps tearing into the economy of America, which in turn affects the whole world, because the whole world is under the world reserve currency status of America. So this has a domino effect. It doesn't just affect one individual or one nation, it affects the world. And this is the Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai bringing this place to a close. All right, so it says, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and the daughters of music shall be brought low. So even when they rise at the sound of the bird, which is in the morning, when you get up to go to work, you ain't gonna have no job to go to. And all the daughters of music shall be brought low, and that's what's happening. And this is why the quality of music is garbage. You don't even going back to the 90s, even though you had some good songs back in the 90s, there was no quality studio sessions of musicians actually going into the studios and actually making real music like they did in the 60s and the 70s and in the 80s. You know, where you had artists that actually had talent, that they can sing, they could dance, they could play instruments, and they would get together, you know, and just vibe and then record stuff, you know, whether somebody was strumming on the guitar or beating on the drums, you know, or blowing the trumpets and you know, the saxophones and all that, creating music. Today's music is garbage from the samples, you know, and just the overall quality of music today is garbage, you know. So this is also a telltale witness of the downfall of this great empire that used to be admired by all these different nations, you know. And matter of fact, as I mentioned that, I gotta get, let's see, let's go to Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 3. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith that the Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou was made to serve, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how had the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased? Because now everybody's looking at America with the real disdain. You know, they have to take another look at the American dream. Matter of fact, that brought to mind this one. 1 million Americans are living in their RVs as the American dream continues to be redefined. November 16, 2 days ago. And pretty much as you read the article, there's millions of Americans that are living out of their RVs because it's cheaper for them. They have more freedom, but it's cheaper for them. But it's a lot more uncomfortable. You know, because if you have a family, if you're by yourself, then it's cool. But if you have a family, which most do, it's going to be hard because there's no privacy. You're constantly bumping into each other. That brings about bitterness and anger and frustration. So you're going to constantly be fighting with each other. Why? Because you have no space in here. And this is all the product of this society's economy collapsing and falling apart. People have to live different lifestyles. You got to remember that some of these devils and some of these Israelites, they're used to living in homes, nice homes with a nice backyard and a nice deck and a nice pit, to cook barbecue and all that stuff. They pride themselves in showing off their homes to their friends and families, inviting them over for cookouts and all of that. Then to be brought into something like this, or just bottom line, just to be homeless on the street, because they ain't talking about it, but the homeless situation in America is very bad. I've been out to different cities when the Spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai allowed me to travel, and I've been to cities, beautiful cities, that have a whole bunch of people just homeless. And here it is, you have one block, it'd be homeless people, and they'll walk in, and then they'll walk in the next block, and you see all these beautiful stores and roads and everything seems like it's all nice, but the people are homeless, man. But they're not really addressing that issue, and some of these homeless people just became that way because some of them were thriving. And when this economy went down, that's when a lot of them lost everything that they had. Some of them were forced to live out of their cars, and some of them were paying on those cars. And eventually what happens when you can't pay your payments? They come and repossess it. So now you went from at least being able to sleep in your car or your truck or whatever you had to sleeping on the streets. So this place is finished. How have the golden cities ceased? How has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. So now it's time for them to be brought down low. And when you go back into the history of when the kingdom of Judah fell to the Babylonian empires, remember you had kings and nobles that were decked out, that were living good, that were living lavishly. And when the Babylonians came in, what happened? They took them out of that position, and they went from being kings and nobles to being paupers. And this is what's going to happen to Esau. The tables are going to turn on Esau now. Now he's going down, and we're on the come up. All right, because the Most High had broke the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. So now the only thing left is for them to be taken out of that position. And that's going to be left up to our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, when he comes back to kick this devil off of that throne and set himself up back into power. And that, man, forget about it. So pretty much going back to Ecclesiastes 12:5, also when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail. Why? Because there's not going to be anything to look forward to. Because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. And they're going to be afraid. They're going to be afraid. All right, so now let's go from there to the book of Isaiah 19. Let's start at 1. Isaiah 19:1, the burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come. And this is dealing with when the Most High sends Yahweh Shai back on this cloud, which are the chariots, and shall come into Egypt, because America today is known spiritually as Egypt. Let's get that real quick. Move this over here. Revelation 11:8. It says, and their dead bodies, are just talking about who? The saints of the Most High, which are the Israelites. And their dead bodies, meaning not physically dead, but spiritually dead, shall lie in the street of the great city. And you see that whenever you see Jake walking in the streets of America, that is the walking dead, the valley of the dry bones, until the Lord wakes them up and puts the flesh upon their bones. It says, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. So this great city, which is America, which is Babylon the Great, spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, because it's physically in the scriptures called Babylon the Great, but it's also known spiritually as Sodom, because you have a whole bunch of homosexuals, pansexuals, hermaphrodites, androgynous people, lesbians, zoophiliacs, pedophiliacs, and many other such indecent sexual acts. So that's why it's called Sodom and Egypt, because this is the place of our captivity. And although the slaves were so-called freed, and when they had the Native Americans and the other northern kingdoms down in the islands, Caribbean islands, and other Central and South America, Mexico, they had them in slavery, and the so-called crown of Spain outlawed slavery. We're still slaves today through this American system that is set up, through the birth certificates, through the social security cards, through contracts, because everything we do is under contracts, so we're still slaves. So Egypt represents slavery. All right. And that's what it is here in America, where also our Lord was crucified, because they crossed the image of Yahweh Shai out, and they put the image of their so-called white Jesus. Okay. So going back to Isaiah 19, it says, and shall come into Egypt, which this is Yahweh Shai coming back into Egypt. And today Pharaoh is ruling, the modern day Pharaoh that's ruling is Edomites, which you had Edomites that actually did rule in Egypt during the Ptolemaic Empire. And now you have this modern day pharaohs, which is these American presidents, that are ruling. And shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Why? Because when the Lord comes back, he's coming back to do damage. And it says that men's hearts failing them for fear and looking upon those things which are coming upon the earth. They're not going to be able to explain it. Now they could explain it as a wind or a tsunami or some tidal wave or a cyclone or some strange phenomena. But when Yahweh Shai comes back, they're not going to be able to explain what's happening. They're not going to have any answers. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, because there's going to be class wars, because these Edomites that are of the lower class or even middle class are going to be coming after those other Edomites that are living lavishly, that are going to be able to withstand this economic collapse, and when famines come in and start falling apart. They show you that in the movie The Road. They show you that in different movies. So you're going to have those class wars, Edomite against Edomite, Jake against Jake, Moab against Moab, and everything else in between. And they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom, because this place is going to be brought down to its knees. But in all of that, it's still going to be business as usual in certain areas. That's why it says, as in the days of Noah and as in the days of Lot. There's still going to be business as usual conducted when Yahweh Shai comes back. And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, because they went from this prideful spirit, this prideful American spirit, to now they can't have that prideful spirit anymore, because financially they're doing bad. So that pride is starting to drop, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, because these different senators and governors and mayors and all that, and presidents and vice presidents, they can't give the people answers anymore. They can't lie to the people anymore, because these people are getting fed up with them empty promises. This is why it says in the book of 2nd Ezra, just going to go straight to the point, and then we're going to jump back up. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power, because they're not going to want to hear no more of this nonsense, about, well, America's going to bounce back, this, that, and the other. They're tired of hearing the bullshit. And they shall seek to the idols. They're going to the Roman Catholic Church, to the Christian Church, and to the charmers, the people that read palms and all that, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. They're going to go to the psychics and all of that, but they're going to have no answers. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, said the Lord of hosts. So really behind the scenes, it's the international bankers that are ruling over these people, and they are a cruel lord. So this place is finished with a capital T at the end. And the waters shall fail from the sea, and the rivers shall be wasted and dried up. They're having certain problems with water in certain cities in America. Whether the water is polluted or whether there's a shortage. It says, and they shall turn the rivers far away, and the brooks of defense shall be emptied and dried up. The reeds and the flags shall wither. The paper reeds by the brooks, by the mouth of the brooks, and everything sown by the brooks shall wither, be driven away, and be no more. The fishes also shall mourn, and all they that cast the angle into the brook shall lament, and they that spread nets upon the waters shall languish. Yeah, because even these fishermen are catching hell. I mean, they're bringing fish on land, and they're opening the fish up. They're seeing all type of garbage inside these fish, plastic and just all different manner of nonsense, garbage. I mean, they take it out and still sell it anyway, but that meat is tainted. And after a while, they're going to stop buying the shit. It says, moreover, they that work in fine flax, and they that weave networks shall be confounded. And that's dealing with the same fishermen, because they're the ones that have the networks are those big nets that they use to catch fish. Some of them catch lobster and swordfish and all kind of abominations, which is causing the ecosystem to be turned upside down, because they're taking out of the sea the very fish that are unclean, that clean up the sea. So everything is just all fucked up, man. And they shall be broken in the purposes thereof, right? Because this same way that they're making their money is the same way that they're destroying the ecosystem. All that makes sluices and ponds for fish. Surely the princes of Zoan are fools. This is dealing with your wise men. They're fools. The counsel of the wise counsels of Pharaoh is become brutish, because they have no solutions. Because everything that they've done, they fucked the whole world up. That's why it says that the foundations of the earth are out of course. Because this madman, this Frankenstein, is ruling, and he's destroying everything. And if the Lord don't come and stop him, he's going to destroy the whole planet, including himself. Because this motherfucker is just a destroyer, man. That's why he has to be destroyed. He has to be taken out. These Edomites have to be abolished. They have to be banned from existence. After they served 1,000 years, they've proven time and time again that they cannot rule. They need someone over them to tell them what to do, to make them do the right thing. And they're still not going to get it. That's why after a period of 1,000 years of them in hardcore slavery, they're going to be destroyed. How say you unto Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of the ancient kings? Where are they? What are thy wise men? That's why it says the wise men of Teman shall fail, or something along those lines in the book of Obadiah. And let them tell thee now, and let them know what the Lord of hosts hath purpose upon Egypt, because the Lord has a purpose upon Egypt, and which is America. And the purpose is that he's going to destroy it from off the face of the earth. All right. And all these things that you see going on, whether it be financial or whatever, this is all the different strokes and the different tribulations, you could say, that the Lord is putting upon this place to bring it down. That's why it says, let's go from there real quick. Jeremiah 51:6, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. In other words, don't you use the world as not abusing it. You get in and get out. Why? Because this place is polluted, it shall destroy you. Be not cut off in her iniquities. Because anyone that's involved in trying to keep America afloat, any of you Israelites out there that's trying to keep America afloat, you're going to be cut off in her iniquities, because it's already destined by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua that this place is finished. And anyone that tries to help it keep afloat, you're going to be destroyed. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Babylon has suddenly fallen and destroyed because it's being destructured. How for her? Take balm for her pain. Try to fix it. I don't give a damn what I don't give a damn what you do. There's no fixing this place. There's no medicine that can heal this bitch. If so be, she may be healed. See, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the skies. So the Lord is the one that's bringing this to pass. All right. So this place is finished. All right. Finished. That's why suicide rates among U.S. workers has increased 34%. This is why the middle class, this is the middle class destruction, because this is the purpose of these international bankers is to destroy the middle class, because they don't want any middle class. They want super rich, super poor. That's it. Then you have, you know, 1 million Americans are living in their RVs as the American dream continues to be redefined. So pretty much everything, the style of living of America is going down. And you have bankruptcies wants to give executives $19 million in bonuses. So all these different large corporations are going out of business. They're in bankruptcy, you know. So this place on all levels is finished, you know. And these international bankers, which are the rich men, they're going to howl too, because once they're planning on causing this economic crash in the world, right? To be able to get control over the people and make the world poor and them rich, and them having control over people by putting this chip in everybody, but it's going to backfire on them. It says, James 5:1, go to you now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as they were fire. You have reaped treasure together for the last days. But you know what? You're going to heap those treasures up, and you're going to give them unto us, the Israelites. All right. So with that, I hope you brothers have been edified. Until the next time I say shalom. All right. Shalom. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rachah Kodash. I just wanted to do a quick little lesson before we go out to camp. This is the brother Shathia. His video, I recognize his voice, and plus he actually says his name again in the video a few times. I met the brother, very humble brother, and I was watching this video that Elder Uriah sent to me earlier, and when I watched the video, all I could say was, wow, you know, it's marvelous. You know, I watched the whole thing. It's 37 minutes long. I even put a comment, you know, that 3 and 7 equals 10. That's the kingdom. You know, one outside the circle, and the cycle begins again. I just wanted to add a couple of precepts to this, you know, so I guess you could say like a response / commentary. And I just wanted to bring out a couple of scriptures just to go with the brother's vision that he had. This is Romans 8:16. It says, the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. And if children, then heirs, heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Hamashiach Yahushai, if so be that we suffer with him. Because it's about the suffering. The suffering part is the part that gets hard, you know. And I know brothers are going through certain situations, whether it be financially, physically, you know, just in general, just dealing with the stress of being in this truth, being in this world, you know, dealing, you know, with one another's BS, you know, because that's a package deal, you know. But all of these things are really building us up, you know, for the real storm that's coming, you know, and afterwards the consolation, which is the kingdom of heaven, you know. And I was happy, you know. He mentioned, you know, Elder Menatazak in the dream. He mentioned Elder Uriah, you know, himself. And I was happy for those brothers, because, you know, when brothers go through certain situations, we all have a look, on us, stressful look, but also, strong through the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shai. But in the kingdom, it's going to be a carefree thing, like we finally made it to that rest. That's what the scriptures say, there remaineth a rest to the people of the Most High. It says that we may be also glorified together. So the suffering part is also going to turn to glorification. And that glorification is when you brothers start going up into them chariots, praising Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, that hopefully I make it also that we were worthy to make it out of here, as wretched as we are, and it says, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. And that's beautiful because, although we're going through what we're going through, and sometimes it seems like you're going out of your skull, and it seems like, why are we going through this? Remember, the Lord said that he's not going to put on us more than we can bear, because if not, the Lord would destroy us. And the Lord said he didn't call us unto destruction, but unto salvation. So being called into this truth is not a detrimental thing. Although we go through certain heartaches, certain adversities, certain tribulations, but it's all for our betterment. It's not a thing of, brothers giving up hope because your life is just turned upside down. There's a purpose for this. There's a reason why Yahweh Bashem El Shai is doing this. We understand it because of the scriptures, but sometimes as men, we tend to get upset. We tend to get, like, damn, what the hell, But remember, it's all for our betterment, and if we're able to deal with the chastising, as the Lord said, then the Lord can deal with us as with sons, right? It says, for the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of the Most High. And you're going to have the 144,000 are going to be on a much higher level than the rest of Israel, and the brother in the dream, he kind of mentioned that, because 144,000 is going to be the governing body, and the men that are ridiculed on this side, the men that are going through tribulations and hell, and being talked down upon just for defending the gospel in the kingdom, they're going to be mighty and great, so that 144,000, which we all pray to be a part of that number, when they're set up back into power, if Israel's going to shine and be great and glorious, then the 144,000 are going to be even more spectacular than that. Just imagine, the average person out here, and then you imagine, what you thought before we woke up to the truth that the Lord woke us up to, how they looked and viewed these superstars in this kingdom. But it's going to be far more glorious than that, So but it's part of it is the suffering. All right, so 2 Corinthians chapter 2, and I'll start at 1. Paul, an apostle of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, by the will of the Most High, and Timothy our brother, unto the church of the Most High, which is at Corinth, with all the saints which are in all Achaia. Grace be to you and peace from the power of our Father and from the Lord Yahweh Shai. And there's times where you have to, do videos rebuking brothers, but there's also times you have to do videos to exhort brothers, to comfort brothers. Scripture say, comfort ye my people. So there's times where you have to get down. There's times when you admonish, there's times when you rebuke sharply, and then it's times for the comfort. And this video and vision that the brother did comforted my spirit. It says, blessed be the power, even the Father of our Lord Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, the Father of mercies and the power of all comfort. And this is why it's important. Like the Apostle Paul would say, comfort one another with these words. Because this is our comforter. This is what Yahweh Shai said he was going to send to give us comfort, so we can relax our weary minds, because these things are coming. It says, who comforteth us in all our tribulation, that we may be able to comfort them which are in any trouble. Because brothers are going to be in trouble. Sometimes you're going to be able to eat adversity like water, like Job did, but then there's going to be times where it's going to be so detrimental, and you're going to feel so low in the spirit that you're thinking that the spirit of Yahweh Bashem El Shai is leaving you. Trust and believe. We've all been through that and still go through that. It says, by the comfort wherewith we ourselves are comforted of the Most High. For as the sufferings of Yahweh Shai abound in us, so our consolation also aboundeth by Yahweh Shai, because he promised that the Most High has prepared a kingdom for us, and it's the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom if we endure these things that Yahushua endured. So he gave us, he is the actual measuring stick, you know, and the actual one that crossed that veil, so to speak, crossed that finish line, and now he's the example, the prime example of when you do the things that the Most High wants and the Most High asks of you, you know, asks of us, then the reward comes afterwards. It says, and whether we be afflicted, it is for your consolation and salvation, which is effectual in the enduring of the same sufferings which we also suffer, or whether we be comforted, it is for your consolation and salvation. Now, I didn't look this word enduring here in this particular one, but the word endure means to be made hard, you know. And in the interest of time, I'm not going to look it up, so brothers can look it up when they get a chance. But enduring means to be made hard, you know. And these tribulations that we go through, they really, whether we see it or understand it or not, is making us stronger and stiffer in the spirit, so to speak. It says, and our hope of you is steadfast, knowing that as you are partakers of the sufferings, so shall you be also of the consolation. And that's what the brother was exhorting brothers at the end of the video to continue on, because the prize is coming. This is our 2 Corinthians 4:15. For all things are for your sakes, that the abundant grace might through the thanksgiving of many redound to the glory of the Most High. Because the Lord said in the Apocrypha that the world was made for our sakes. No, we got the kingdom. The kingdom is already in another dimension. We are already in the kingdom. All we have to do is endure this last little bit of hell, you know, and then so we can get there. It says, for which cause we faint not. It says, but though our outward man perish, and brothers are feeling that, you know, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. Why? Because these things that we go through are building us up and building our character even stronger. It says, for our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. And it says, 1 Peter 1:5, who are kept by the power of the Most High through faith until salvation ready to be revealed in the last time. Wherein ye greatly rejoice, though now for a season, if need be, you are in heaviness through manifold temptations, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than that of gold that perishes, though it be tried with fire, it says, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua HaMashiach, who having not seen you love, in whom though now you see him not, yet believing, ye rejoice with joy unspeakable and full of glory, receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your souls. But part of it is through what? Through the sufferings, you know. So this is just an exhortation video for brothers to you know, in a comforting video for brothers, you know, that although you're going through all these different tribulations, don't worry, you know, there's help coming. You know, Yahushua is on his way. You know, he can't wait to get here and get busy, you know, so we can receive that glorious prize and glorious reward that's promised us, you know, for going through these things. And you got to remember, the prophets are back. So the prophets in their lifetime, every time they came back on the scene, they went through a lot of hell and tribulation. So this is the time where the consolation is coming. And that consolation is the kingdom of heaven, and all of the things that these prophets went through will be worth it once the kingdom is established, you know. And those same men, because the scriptures tell you in Jeremiah that I will get me to the great men, you know. So you have the 144,000 out there that are going to be great and going to be more highly exalted than the rest of Israel. But all of Israel is going to be great in the kingdom of heaven, man. From the bum on the street to the grimiest individual you could find, you know, to the most low life individual, to the meekest of Israel out there, even to this day, you know, all will be great in the kingdom of heaven, because the scriptures say, and thy people shall all be righteous. So with that, I hope you brothers have been edified. Stay strong, keep fighting, you know, don't give up, you know, keep on fighting, keep on sending them prayers up, and Lord's will, we out of here soon. Shalom.